Am I muted? Because that's a little embarrassing. Can you guys hear me now? Hello? Am I muted? Oh my Lanta. Can you guys hear me now? Well, that's embarrassing. Okay, so Wiener Wagon, thank you so much for that. Can you hear me though? Yes, hear you now. Awesome. All right, so that's crazy that I was muted. So I'm gonna enjoy this moment and just take it all in because that unfortunately is what happens on live events. Can you hear me? Just let me know one more time in the comments. Wow. Live events. Can you hear me? Just let me know one more time in the comments. Sweet. All right. So now we can get rolling. I'm actually going to try to start all the way at the beginning. Whew. First by saying, hey, Jesse, Second Chance Recovery, man. It is great to see you, my brother. I hope that you and your family are doing well. I'm probably pretty red right now, but that's okay. I hope that the Thanksgiving was good for you guys, and I hope that, life is treating you good. Wiener Wagon, you are hero of the day, and if I had a gold star, I would give that to you, brother or sister, because whew, I didn't even know. How about them apples? All right, so the way I started this was, and I truly thank you for that. The way I started this was, I'm living in my own apartment and I am by myself for the first time since I've been married. I was married for 22 years and I'm still married, but my wife and I separated a couple months back. And it's in part to my drinking history that I don't know, it stuck around. Even though I was sober for 9 years, it was still a thing. We talk about making amends all the time. Second Chance Recovery, it is cool, brother. Um, my wife and I, we had a long relationship of give and take, and mine was more take. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say perhaps she got tired of the take and wanted to see things in a different light and see things in a different way, which is all right. At first, I was really upset because when I was muted, I was saying that we as alcoholics and addicts, even in recovery, we love extreme. Unfortunately, we hate extreme. We hold grudges and on and on and on and on. As this is about challenges moving into the holidays and about building strategies in order to navigate significant events as well as holidays, it's important for us to remember that, you know what, we're not the only thing in this machine. And in my case, unfortunately, my wife wanted something different in her life towards this next chapter. And I just wasn't a part of that. Perhaps she got tired of all of it. And I just have to accept it and I have to move on. And I can't speak for her, but I can speak for myself. And I can say that, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. And I'm not going to drink over it because I know what the drink looks like for me in the end. And I know what it does in my life. So I'm no longer a drinker. I'm going to build strategies in order to become more resilient, in order to make my life that much gooder. And I'm still a little embarrassed, so I lost my words. So I got a call from my buddy, and feel free to drop comments. Thank you for those who have subscribed to the channel. Thank you for those who are a part of this wonderful community that we have. And I appreciate you guys all being here. So as this is about the challenges, my buddy gave me a call last night, and unfortunately I was muted because, I'm able to say things a little bit better the first time than the second, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I got a call from my buddy, and I'm not going to mention him by name, and I'm not going to mention him where he is or where he works and all that stuff out of respect. So I got a call from him, and he was very upset, very emotional, very taken aback by the fact that he had lost his job, and it wasn't the first time, and it was in part to drinking, and it was in part to something that resulted of drinking. His significant other has apparently become tired of being the anchor and being the fixer and being the cure-all in their relationship. And unfortunately, I received a message this morning that said she no longer wanted to do it. And that is horrible. And that is something I can understand. And that is something that I can gravitate to, because I myself, I caused a lot of problems in my own relationship, and I caused a lot of insecurity, and I caused a lot of turmoil and turbulence. Then, I'm going to go on a limb and say my wife got tired of trying to balance those acts. And, she made a decision that she's done with that and she wants something different. And unfortunately, it seems like this is what this other person's significant other wants to do. Now, I'm not a doctor, psychiatrist, or psychologist, so I can't really tell him what's best for him, but I can tell him my experience about it. So that's what I did. And I don't know if it took, and I don't know if it's going to do him any good, but I did suggest, and some of you might agree, some of you might disagree. I did suggest he go to a meeting, and I did suggest that, and I don't like to give advice because it's kind of a double-edged sword. And I did suggest that he take a breath and he try to see things from her perspective, because a lot of us, we lose sight of that, and we lose sight of other people's feelings and other people's emotions and other people's desires, because we as alcoholics and addicts, we're daggone selfish, and we put everything on us. And that's exactly, unfortunately, what he was doing. Yes, going to a meeting is a great start. Second chance recovery, because I think, and this is my opinion, my friends, if you're able to talk to other alcoholics and addicts about what you're going through, chances are they probably went through it too. And they can tell you what it looks like on the other side of the fence, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think so. Still a little embarrassed, but that's okay. So I did that, and I do hope that he is able to move forward, and that he is able to find solace, and he's able to accept the fact that there are changes that are about to happen, and he can either do something positive with that, or unfortunately, the latter half, and the choice that a lot of us make, is to go back to the bottle. And I don't wish that on anybody, so best of luck to him. And yeah, so if you guys got anything on that topic, feel free to drop it in them comments, because it is important, and it is something that we should all think about. Okay, so Jesse wrote, "Amen. It's a program of we. We will find a way together. You're giving great advice." Hey, thank you, Jesse. Again, I don't like to give advice, only because it is a double-edged sword. But in this case, I couldn't just hang up on the person, and I couldn't just say, bye-bye, good luck to you. But I do hope I hear from him again. And I was going to come on, my friends. Let me tell you, I got a friend. In my sobriety, I got friends. That's so weird. So I got a friend who wants to come on to a live, and this person has a story that will blow your mind. It's absolutely incredible, and I'm hoping to get him on. I dropped him my emails, and I hope that he sends me one soon, because we're trying to get it to where we can do a live together. He has a story of like strength, a story of commitment, and a story of pure transformation. This person went to prison for, I think it was 10 or 12 years, came out. He got sober when he was in, of course. Well, I don't say of course because you can definitely get drunk in prison, but so he went to prison. He came out. He's reformed. He is a very good father, and he definitely has something to offer to the people that we talk to. So I look forward to speaking with him. I just want to drop that out there. Okay, so common strategies, or rather, common triggers throughout this holiday season. And I don't know if a lot of you can relate to this. This is just my experience on it. When I was drinking, and I'm going to hold my pen because that's what I do when I'm still embarrassed about being muted. When I was in my drinking days and I went home, which wasn't often, but when I did get home, I found myself sitting in the corner, like way, way away from everybody because I was embarrassed about myself because I knew everybody was judging me. And then next, I felt that nobody wanted to talk to me at all. And then I also wanted to get small because if I get small, that means that I can creep out as quick as possible when the withdrawal starts kicking in and I can get on out of there. And so as I would be at these gatherings and everything else, sorry, I got distracted. When I would be at these gatherings and everything else, I would find myself looking around the room. And what I was looking for, my friends, is I was looking for where they kept like the beer stash and where they kept the alcohol for the party when it gets going. And I was wondering like how fast I could navigate around there and grab a little bit and then go back to my corner of Netherlands and drink that up before anybody noticed. That's what I would do at my little get-togethers. That if I ended up there, I was only doing it for one reason. Did they have alcohol and were they serving it and how long were they going to do it? So now when I go home, I'm going to do a surprise visit for them in March. And this is the first time they're going to see me as a non-drinker. And I think this is going to be amazing. What are some triggers that you think I could possibly run into at a gathering that I used to go to and get small? That's a question you don't have to answer, but something to think about, because even at almost 9 years sober, in February, it'll be 9 years for me, February 16th or February 21st. It'll be 9 years of living sober. So even at 9 years of living sober, what are some triggers that might exist? Love you too, bro. What are some triggers that might exist that I might run into? A, in no particular order, somebody offering you a drink. Your best friend comes up to you and your best friend's like, yo, you got to do a shot with me. And you're like, no, because I'm a non-drinker. I'll tell you about how I navigate triggers, and you let me know, or rather, that certain one, and you let me know if this resonates with you. So I went to a couple ski resorts in the last 2 months because I do snowboarding and I'm hoping to become an instructor. So I go back and test in March. At each of the resorts that I've been to, every time that we finish a day on the slope, almost, we end up at the bar. At the bar, I always order a cappuccino, a water, and a tea, because in Germany, if you don't get your drinks like all at once, you're not going to see the waiter or waitress for a long time. So I order everything at one time, and that's all I have to have. And I go on trips all the time, and somehow we always end up in a bar, and I do the exact same thing. In some places, they don't allow you to have cappuccino past 3 o'clock, but I ordered it anyway. Cappuccino, water, and tea. A, because I like the cappuccino before my meal, which is weird. I drink water almost all day, and I like tea just for the taste. So, it's very easy for me, and you might find this too, in my adulthood, to avoid, or rather, to not have to drink with a group of people because A, adults primarily don't care if you drink or don't drink. So that's a non-issue at that point, at least for me over here. Tell me what it is for you. Have you been offered a drink and you found it hard to refuse? Or have you been at a place where people were drinking and said, daggone, I wish I still drank so I can be a part of this? I just decided to look at the comments real quick just to turn the volume down on this iPad. I had it up just to make sure it was still going. So I don't want to be embarrassed again. All right, so another trigger, and this is a big one, folks. And this is a big one because a lot of us suffer from a trigger that, if I say it, just might trigger you. So I am going to premise this with trigger warning, folks. I am going to be talking about family dynamics and things that happen within your childhood. So if this is a subject matter that makes you feel bad about yourself immediately or makes you have a negative connotation the moment I say it, mute it, turn it off, walk away, whatever you got to do, but come back in about 5 minutes because we'll wrap it up. All right, so the family unit is one of the biggest triggers in this universe, be it your siblings, your parents, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your uncles, your aunts, however you say it. Family is a trigger for, I would say, a good 90% of alcoholics and addicts. I did not look that number up, so it might be wrong, folks. All right. So, in my childhood, my father was an alcoholic, and he was an angry alcoholic, and he sometimes lashed out a little bit and sometimes got physical. My uncle was an addict. My other uncles were alcoholics. My grandfather was an alcoholic. My aunts used recreational drugs, and on and on and on. There was a lot of abuse that happened during my childhood, verbal, physical, whatever. There was a lot of things that transpired. So if you think about it like this, when you go to these family gatherings and you go to the Thanksgiving gathering, if you're in America, if you have the Vayanakta, the Christmas here, if you have the New Year's, whatever the case is, and you're around that same family where all these things happened when you were a young person and all these things transpired as a young adult or a child, a lot of feelings start to come up. And I already told you that alcoholics and addicts, we love hard. We feel the feelings, but we like to run away from the feelings. We like to drink the feelings. We like to shoot the feelings. We do everything to get away from the feels. And it's to an extent quite understandable because a lot of the things that happen to us are so impactful all the way through our adulthood. We still don't know how to deal with it, and we still don't know how to navigate that, and we still don't know how to process the feelings that come up when they do. So we as alcoholics and addicts, we do the one thing that we know best, and that is to what, folks? That's right. Get drunk or get high. Guess what? If you're living sober or if you decide to quit, what do you do then? What do you do when you can't go back to the number one solution that you used to have? And this is where I'm going with the family dynamics and the family role, because we bottled everything and we did what we did in order to run away from the feelings. My friends, we live hard. Alcoholics and addicts, we live hard and we feel hard. So, in my life in sobriety, in recovery, what I choose to do instead of drinking, instead of using, because I'm a non drinker and because I don't use, is I do still take things to a little bit of extreme. I'm 48 years old and I go snowboarding. I go downhill mountain biking, kayaking, canoeing, skydiving, hiking, whatever can give me that same daggone dopamine rush that I used to get when I was drinking. Now, is it a positive action that I'm taking? Well, in most cases, my friends, because if I'm not drinking, I can remember it. If I'm not drinking, I can change what I think about it. If I'm not drinking, I can feel the feelings that come along with what it is I'm doing, and I can use them in a transformative way that makes me healthier, that makes me stronger, that makes me a little more mentally resilient. And that's how I utilize the sports that I do. And that's how I utilize the activities that I partake in. And I do it all, my friends, to include the separation that I'm living in right now away from my wife without a drink. Because I know what it looks like for me. And I said that in the beginning. And that's an important thing to remember when it comes to dealing with challenges during the holidays and building coping strategies. So, what do you think so far? Let me pose it this way. What challenges are you facing right now in your world during the holidays? And you don't have to write it, but if you feel free, drop that in them comments right there so that we can talk about it a little bit. And you don't have to hear me ramble bamble about some BS that you don't even want to hear about. All right, building a support system. And we're going to get to that in just a second, but we're going to get to some self-care tips in just a moment. But I'm waiting to see if a couple comments come in because I know a lot of you have some things that you're going through right now that are challenges for you during this holiday season. And I am itching to hear about it because we're not alone, folks. And the more that we share with each other, the better we can become. And the more that we share with each other, we get it out of our heads and we get it out in the universe. And perhaps somebody here has gone through the same thing and they can offer you a little advice or just let you know what they did in order to maybe turn the tables on what it is that was going on. I wish I had that music going on in the background, but the last time I had it on, my friends, it was so daggone loud that I think I lost like more than half you guys. All right, so I will look and see if some comments come in, but for right now, you know, when I was drinking and when I was using, I didn't really take care of myself. I did not shower on a regular basis. I didn't brush my teeth on a regular basis. I didn't work out as much as I do now. I let myself go pretty bad. It was kind of easy to mask because if I got drunk, then nobody really noticed. But there is a big problem when we don't take care of ourselves because I'll tell you something that I do is when I wake up in the morning, instead of staying in my pajamas all day, I put some clothes on and I put whatever on is appropriate for whatever I'm about to do. And that just makes me feel like I'm ready for the day. You know what I mean? DJ Better, how are you? On my way back from a weekend family trip, very little drinking and smoking. That's DJ Better, guys. Say hello, say how are you? It's been a while, and it is great to hear from you. I'm glad that there was very little in drinking and smoking, and I'm glad that you had a good time. What are your plans for the holidays? Or for the holidays? For Christmas and for New Year's? It is good to hear from you. And we're talking about just self care right now, about getting ready for what it is that we're going to do for the day or, what have you. Appreciate you dropping in. If you have any comments about common triggers during the holidays and, maybe like dealing with family and things like that, and what it does to you and what you do to maybe navigate it to make it a little bit better. DJ Better. Boom. All right. So the self care definitely goes down and the drinking goes up. Morning with my sons and evening with family and friends. That is fantastic. Yeah, you're absolutely right, DJ Better. The more you drink, the less your self care happens because we could care less what we look like when we're topped off. You know what I mean? So there is a big impact to our emotional psyche with how prepared we are, how comfortable we are in our own skin. And the more we drink, the less we care. So in living in sobriety or living without drinking in my life, like I said, I get up and I dress for the day. I feel better about myself. I always work out before, and I try to eat different things here and there. Try to eat well on a normal basis, and I try to just overall do something positive for my day. So, what are some tools we can use in order to maintain our sobriety if we are indeed sober? So, with my friend that I told you guys about in the beginning of this, he's going through it right now. Life is not as positive as it could be. He's potentially facing, a separation or a divorce, and he doesn't have a job. So, his life in a matter of a week went from smooth sailing, so to speak, to the boat's tipped over. Unfortunately, I know in my past I would have been drunk already, and I hope that's not the case for him. But what are some things, let's say that happens to you, what are some things that you can do in order to not drink? And for myself, what that looks like is, and I've already said it, I know what's at the bottom of a bottle for me. I know what answer is in those 12 ounces 48 times over. I know what answer is in there. I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to black out. I'm going to either get in a car crash. I'm either going to wake up with some random women that I don't know. I'm going to get an STD probably. I'm probably going to get arrested. Blah, 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 blah. I'm probably going to get arrested. And I'm definitely going to lose my job. I'll probably get kicked back to the United States. I probably won't be able to find a job there. And it will just spiral and spiral and spiral. And that's what my life looks like if I drink. So for me, a tool to maintain my sobriety is to know that and to know that I don't drink. Because if I do, I will not stop, folks. And that for me is a tool to maintain my sobriety. What is a tool that you use in order to maintain yours? Eating healthy. Ooh. DJ Better says eating healthy breakfast and lunches helps. Yes, you're absolutely right. And, don't forget about the question I just asked, folks. Each morning I try to have a bowl of protein oatmeal, a banana. I definitely have a ton of water. And then for lunch, I like to make that heavy and make my dinner lighter. So I like to eat whatever protein from meats during that period. And I like to definitely eat, I'm bad at vegetables, but I like to eat fruit. So I eat another banana and an apple and I wrap that up. So you're absolutely right. And she also writes, making my bed and exercising, no matter how little. Yeah. Every little bit counts. It on the, I am still embarrassed from being muted during the beginning of this, by the way. Every little bit of exercise you do, be it walking for 15 minutes, that is a great idea, by the way. If you get a craving, go walk it off. If you get a craving, take your dog out. If you get a craving, do 20 push-ups 3 times. If you get a craving, do things to distract your brain. And a little bit of physical activity will help. Making your bed every morning will, not only give you a new routine, but it will make you feel like your space is kept and your space is neat and your space is yours and you're proud of it. And I think those are a big deal because that plays a lot on your self-esteem as well. So thank you, DJ Better. That's absolutely correct. Cleaning your environment piece by piece. I like that because there's no need to rush. Take a little bit at a time, go room by room. Your environment, your bubble is where you stay. And that is a good tool to maintain your sobriety as well, because the more happy you are in like my little apartment here, the more happy you are in your space, the more that you will feel comfortable and the more that you can be at ease with yourself. And I think that's a wonderful tip. So thank you very much. That's fantastic. All right. So, I don't know why I'm sidetracked, but I am, guys. I guess because I hadn't been on in a while. I'm a little rusty. So guess what that means? I'm gonna have to come on next week, right? Yeah, that's right. All right. So, building a support system for the season. My friends, staying sober is challenging in itself. Even if you do well at avoiding the triggers and you can identify your triggers and everything else. Back to my friend. If you don't know, I told a story about my friend in the beginning of this, who right now he got fired from his job because of an alcohol thing, and his wife is considering leaving him. And I don't want to go into too many details because that's his business. I'm not going to slap it on the street. All right. This man is very smart. He's very intuitive, and he is very aware of his alcoholism, and he's very aware of his triggers, and he's very aware of the resources available for him. In my opinion, folks, and don't take this the wrong way, but he might be too smart for his own good. And the reason I say that is, and I love him to death, so don't misunderstand me. DJ Better, you have a good night. I thank you for dropping in. Peace be with you. And definitely, I look forward to seeing you again. Feel free to hit me up in an email. Life is a garden. All right. So with my friend, he's very smart. Like I said, he's in touch with what's going on. But unfortunately, the ego is still playing a part in the way that he feels about it, and his comfort level and his needs are ahead of his significant others. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, that plays a big role in the outcome in things. Hence, me and my apartment, folks. I am here in this apartment because I put my needs and my feelings and my desires ahead of my spouse's. That's no bull crap. And that's why I'm sitting here in this apartment alone. Do I have to eat that turkey? Absolutely do. Do I like that taste? I don't. Can I change it? Not at this time. But I can not drink over it. I can make a decision to make this a positive change. And I can wish her all the best. And I do still maintain conversation with her, and I am still her friend because you know what? I mean, I have to be accountable, right? So when we talk about the roles of the family dynamic, but dynamics and stuff like that, we have to be honest with ourselves about where we fit inside of there. And for me, the reason I'm sitting in this apartment is because I put myself ahead of everything else. And that's what alcoholics and addicts do. So I have to go back to the books, and I have to go back to where I was in the beginning of me quitting drinking that made that formative change in the way that I felt about alcohol and the way that I felt about my life and the changes that I have to make in order to keep that. And so, that's what I wish for him, is to go back to the table, say, look, what happened? What can I do to make this different in the future that is positive? And what can I change, or rather, what do I need to change about myself in order to progress in my recovery? Because I was narcissistic, egotistical, definitely. Those kind of go hand in hand. Selfish, that all wraps up in there too. And I just had to be real with it, man. I had to be real with what it is that was going on, because if I'm not, then it's not helpful for anybody in the future, and it's not helpful for me either, in order to stay blind to what is reality, right? And I think that's what my friend should do, and is to really get down to brass tacks with what it is that happened and why, and what could possibly be changed for the future to make his life sustainable for him and his sons, because he does have two sons. And I think that he'll be okay if he just takes a pause for the cause and not go down the rabbit hole with it. Because if he does, okay, I'm done with that, because I can't take other people's inventories. Okay. All right. So building a support system for the holidays is huge. So if you're new in recovery, or if you're trying to quit drinking, or if you are long-term in recovery, I don't know if I'm long-term or not. I got almost 9 years. That might be like a little short-term, but so a support system, right? My buddy called me last night to tell me about his problem and to tell me about what was going on. And I think that's a huge step towards his recovery. Because, why would you reach out to somebody if you didn't want some help? So I think that's awesome. We have to be able to do things that we can reach out with other people. Like I told you before, I like to go snowboarding. I like to do all these activities. I like to be a part of things, and I like to socialize, which I did not when I was in active alcoholism. So I'm able to build this network of friends, true friends, that I can call when I need some help. So if that makes sense for you, if you have any other comments, feel free to drop them below, my friends. Feel free to shoot me an email at onesobertoanother@gmail.com, or I'll probably put this in the description, but wdornbos23@gmail.com. And I will be more than happy to talk to you, and I'll be more than happy to give you my phone number if you want it. And I don't know. If you're in Germany, perhaps we can get together, have a coffee or whatever, cappuccino, and just shoot the poop. All right, guys. So I got to go. I hope you have a great night. I appreciate all you guys that were here. And if you were new here and you got anything out of this discussion, feel free to drop the comments. Feel free to subscribe. Every dime that this channel makes is set aside to go to a rehab facility for free for anybody who needs it. Space available, of course, and for veterans especially. Still in the works, though. I need some investors. I appreciate you. And we'll get it going. Life is a garden. Dig it. I'm going to see y'all next Sunday for Sunday Night Live. And I got a new video dropping on Tuesday, German Christmas. So you'll be able to see it on American Christmas. And you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for being here. Amped Records. I'm going to put my email here real quick before I sign off. It takes me a moment because I'm left-handed and have keyboard challenged. Bam. All right, guys. So, bam, there's my email. Go ahead and drop me a line if you want to. I apologize if this live stream was a little bit rustic. It has been a while since I've been on, only because I've been dealing with this life as it goes, but I haven't forgotten about anybody, and I'm still available for you guys. So, without further ado, I got to go. You guys have a good night. Amped Up Records, shoot me an email, man, and or woman, and we'll chat.